Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. A very good morning. Welcome to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Let me just touch few important and emerging issues. Firstly, on abrupt variation in the flow of the river Chenab, which has been in the news past week, and we have witnessed this abrupt variation in the flow of river Chenab, particularly from 7th December onwards. Pakistan views these variations with extreme concern and seriousness. They allude to unilateral release of water into Chenab River by India without any prior notification or data. Information sharing with Pakistan has also been none. Our Indus Water Commission has written letter to his Indian Indus Water Commissioner has written letter to his Indian counterpart seeking clarification on the matters in accordance with the procedures enshrined in the Indus Water Treaty. Any manipulation of river flow by India, especially at a critical time of our agricultural cycle, directly threatens the lives and livelihoods as well as food and economic security of our citizens. We call upon India to respond to the queries raised by Pakistani Indus Water Commissioner, refrain from any unilateral manipulation of river flows, and fulfill its obligations in letter and spirit under the Indus Water Treaty provisions. Pakistan would like to reiterate that Indus Water Treaty is a binding international agreement which has been an instrument of peace and security and stability in the region. Its breach or violation, on one hand, threatens the inviolability of international treaties and compliance with international law, and on the other hand, it poses serious threats to regional peace, principles of good neighborliness, and norms governing interstate relations. The international community must take notice of India's continued disregard of a bilateral treaty and counsel India to act responsibly in accordance with international law and established norms as well as its own obligations. Pakistan remains committed to peaceful resolutions of disputes and issues with India, but will not compromise on existential water rights of the people of our country. Secondly, there has also been an incident involving mistreatment of a Muslim woman by the Chief Minister of the Indian state of Bihar, and it was followed sadly by public mocking of the incident by a minister in the state of Uttar Pradesh. The forcible removal of Muslims women's hijab by a senior political leader and subsequent public ridicule of this act are deeply disturbing and warrant strong condemnation. The action risks normalizing the humiliation of Muslim women in India. The conduct also demonstrates public disrespect of India's religious minorities, particularly its Muslim citizens. Such conduct reflects a broader and troubling pattern associated with Hindutva inspired politics, namely the alarming rise of religious intolerance and Islamophobia. We urge all responsible stakeholders and the Indian government to recognize the seriousness of this incident and to reaffirm their commitment to the protection and minority rights, respect for religious freedom, and the preservation of human dignity. Now, ladies and gentlemen, moving on to the roundup of this week's activities, Prime Minister Mohammad Shahbaz Sharif undertook a 2-day visit to Ashgabat, Turkmenistan last week to participate in the International Conference on Peace and Trust. In his stay in Ashgabat, the Prime Minister held important meeting with the presidents of Turkmenistan, Turkey, Russia, and Iran. The Deputy Prime Minister, Foreign Minister, Senator Mohammad Ishaq Dar, accompanying the Prime Minister as part of his entourage, and to Ashgabat, has also held important meetings with his counterparts, the foreign ministers of Iran, Kyrgyzstan, Oman, Turkey, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan, and he also met the Secretary General of the Economic Cooperation Organization. And after the completion of the Ashgabat visit, the Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister visited Abu Dhabi to participate in the 16th City Baniyas Forum from 12th to 14th December. He was invited to the event by the Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister of the UAE. The Sarbaniyas Forum, as you would know, is a high level annual gathering that convened senior statesmen, policymakers, and global experts to deliberate on key regional and international issues, including peace and security and economic cooperation. And on the sidelines of the forum, the Deputy Prime Minister, Foreign Minister engaged with international leaders and experts on matters related to regional stability, sustainable development, and the expansion of economic partnerships. The Deputy Prime Minister, Foreign Minister held meeting with the Deputy Prime Minister and Secretary of State for Justice of the UK, the Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister of Poland, the Foreign Minister of Belgium and Luxembourg, the Deputy Prime Ministers of Belgium and Luxembourg, and the Foreign Ministers of Egypt and Azerbaijan. He also met the President of the International uh, Rescue Committee. Yesterday, the Deputy Prime Minister, Foreign Minister held a telephone conversation with the Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister of Iraq, Dr. Fawad Mohammad Hussein. Both leaders reaffirmed their brotherly relations, exchanged views on strengthening bilateral cooperation, and highlighted the importance of high level exchange. They also underscored their commitment to enhancing engagement across political and economic affairs, as well as promoting people to people ties. Ladies and gentlemen, on this week, the the 8 foreign ministers issued a statement on UNRWA, the 8 Islamic foreign ministers, which included our Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister, and included Foreign Minister of Egypt, Indonesia, Jordan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and the UAE. These foreign ministers' statement reaffirmed the indispensable role of the United Nations Relief and Work Agency for for Palestinian refugees. It's called UNRWA, safeguarding the rights and well-being of the refugees, Palestinian refugees. And as you know, for decades, UNRWA has provided protection, education, healthcare, social service, and emergency assistance to millions of Palestinian refugees in the areas of as per its mandate, in accordance with the UN General Assembly Resolution number 302 of 1949. The ministers condemned the storming of UNRWA headquarters in Sheikh Jarrah neighborhood in East Jerusalem by the Israeli forces, and this attack represents a flagrant violation of international law and the inviolability of UN premises. The attack also violated the advisory opinion of the International Court of Justice of October 2025, which clearly states that Israel, as an occupation power, is under an obligation not to impede the operations of UNRWA and, on the contrary, to facilitate such the operations. In light of this unprecedented humanitarian crisis in Gaza Strip, the foreign ministers underscored the essential role of UNRWA in delivering humanitarian assistance through its network distribution centers across the occupied territories, and ensuring that food, relief items, and the basic necessities reach those in need, and efficiently discharge its mandate as in accordance with the UN Security Council Resolution 2803. Accordingly, the ministers call upon the international community to ensure sustainable and adequate funding of UNRWA and to provide the agency with the political and operational space needed to continue its work in all 5 fields of its operation. Ladies and gentlemen, this week also marked the 11th anniversary of the abhorrent terrorist attack on the Army Public School in Peshawar. This memory lasts in our minds. Pakistan solemnly remembers the innocent children and teachers who were martyred in this act of sheer inhumanity. Their sacrifice stands as an enduring symbol of the nation's resolve to confront and defeat terrorism in all its forms. And also this week, the horrific attack at Bondi Beach in Australia at a religious gathering. We strongly condemned this attack. We extend our deepest condolences to the families of the victims and wish a speedy recovery to the injured. Pakistan stands in solidarity with the people and the government of Australia, and we unequivocally condemn terrorism in all its form, its manifestation. And also on the attack against the UN peacekeepers in Kadugli, Sudan, which resulted in tragic death of 6 peacekeepers from Bangladesh serving with the United Nations Interim Security Force for ABA, UNISFA. So our strongest possible condemnation of this attack. Condolences also to the government and the people of Bangladesh on the loss of their precious lives, and we stand in solidarity with the bereaved family. UN peacekeepers remain at the forefront of international efforts to prevent conflict, protect civilians, and support peace. Under the UN flag, we pay homage to the ultimate sacrifice made by these UN blue helmets in the line of duty for peace and stability. And this is where I will conclude, and I open the floor for question answer.